Did you know that there is a land at Disneyland with no popcorn carts, no concession carts out and about? Let's talk about it in today's episode.
You're listening to Castle Talk Radio. We're live on the airwaves with Becca and Jessica. Now let's jump into this week's episode.
Hey friends, it's Becca here. This summer, Jessica and I are doing some deep dives into each land at Disneyland Resort, and that is to celebrate the end of the 70th anniversary celebration yet. The celebration started last year and it's ending at the end of this summer, so we thought it would be the perfect time to deep dive into each land. And today we are talking about Adventureland. This is one of my favorites because it has so many hidden details and such rich history in the land. The land is centered around you going to somewhere that you might see in Indiana Jones or the like a jungle adventure. So think Amazon or Africa village, right? And it's based purely on adventure. So before you enter the land, the first attraction is actually on the outside of the land, and that is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Did you know that this was the first attraction to include audio animatronics? That means animatronics where their mouth moves and they talk, as well as just an animatronic that moves with no speech with it. And in order to kind of get people to come into it when it was first opening, they had a bird in a cage outside, and it was a Barker bird, and I can't remember his name all of a sudden, but he would call to people, but it created such a bottleneck because people would stop and just watch this animatronic bird that they eventually had to retire that, which is so funny because this spot in Adventureland, it is known for bottlenecking. That whole like entry into the land is known for being a bottleneck when it comes to crowds. And maybe that is just subconsciously still there from the days of when they had that bird out there calling to passerbys to come into Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. The Enchanted Tiki Room is a great place to relax and enjoy a Dole Whip while taking in a little bit of a show. Which brings us to the fact that you also have your Dole Whip stand right there at the Enchanted Tiki Room. Mobile ordering is available that you can get those classic Dole Whips right there to enjoy with the show. So as you go in past the sign to Adventureland, you will hear drums beating in the distance, and you will feel like you are out ready to explore the jungle. With that, you'll come to the Jungle Cruise. This is a classic attraction that I think everyone needs to ride every trip, but at least once. You will get to enjoy corny jokes told by the skippers of the boats on the Jungle Cruise and see some animatronics set up in different scenes. And it's just a very nice, relaxing ride. In between the Tiki Room's exit, which is in the back, and the Jungle Cruise, is the Tropical Hideaway. Now, this is a restaurant. It also serves Dole Whips, but it has extra flavors for the Dole Whips. You can mobile order Dole Whips only here. All of the food you do have to stand in line to order, but it's a great atmosphere. Now, there are some hidden gems inside of this area that I have to talk about. First, this is the previous location of Aladdin's Oasis. And if you look on the ground before you enter the Tropical Hideaway, you will still see carpet is there on the ground in the tile work as you enter. Additionally, there's like a little corner that is still set up like a bazaar that you would see in Aladdin, where it has rugs and lamps for sale. A couple of my favorites, though, actually have to do with the Tiki Room. So, if you've ever been to Walt's Enchanted Tiki Room, you know that there's a line that says, "Whatever happened to Rosita?" Well, Rosita is out at the Tropical Hideaway in the seating area over towards the rivers for the Jungle Cruise, and she is there in a cage. But if you look underneath her cage is the cane and hat of that original Barker bird that I mentioned at the beginning of this. Now, while you're standing over by Rosita, turn around and look above the ordering area at the Tropical Hideaway. And in there, you will see little birdhouses built into the roof line. And it has the names of all the other female birds right there. So it has all of their names hanging from each little hole to enter the birdhouse. And then you scan to the left, and you will see three of the male bird, the MCs, have their own birdhouses as well. Now, there isn't one for Jose, but that's because Jose is the lead MC in the Tiki Room, and so he has his own special birdhouse inside of the Enchanted Tiki Room. Across from Jungle Cruise, you are going to find the bazaar, which is where you can go and do a little shopping, and you will find a lot of adventure-themed stuff here. Things for the Jungle Cruise, Indiana Jones themed items, and also just some regular like clothing items that are adventure themed, which is very interesting. Next to that, you will also find Bengal Barbecue, and this is one of my friend Tony's favorite dining locations. It does have mobile order available, and you can get some skewers that are delicious, high in protein. And they do have other options as well, but definitely check that out if you are looking for a quick bite to eat. Now, a little tip is inside, next to it, what used to be part of the shop is now seating area for the, Bengal barbecue, so there is indoor seating available in that area. And then back across the way, next door to the Jungle Cruise, is Indiana Jones and the Adventure of the Forbidden Eye. I hope I said that name right. I should have had it in front of me, but I don't. And this is a thrill ride that has a 46-inch height requirement. So this is not something you're going to take the littles on, but those older kids, they will probably enjoy it. And it's basically a Jeep ride in some heavy um terrain, like very tumultuous, whips you around a lot. And it can be scary for young children. So it's definitely something I suggest looking up a point of view ride video on, or riding yourself before you take littles on it that might be sensitive to large jerks, sensitive to like noise or to blasts of wind or to scary scenes, because it does have all of those in there. Some other things I really love about Adventureland is the fact that in between the Jungle Cruise and Indiana Jones, there is a very large palm tree, and this is the Dominguez palm tree. So when Walt Disney bought up the orange groves to build Disneyland, the Dominguez family owned a very large part of that. And they sold it to them, but they had this special palm tree that they wanted kept alive. And Walt Disney did move it, but it is still there. It is a very tall tree, that palm tree that grows, like I said, in between the Jungle Cruise and Indiana Jones. And I believe it's from 1898 or somewhere like that, but he removed it from where its original location and planted it there to pay homage to them, and it remains there to this day. Another fun little thing you can find in Adventureland is, if you've ever read the Little Golden Books, there's one called The Little Man of Disneyland, and he actually has a home just below the sign for Indiana Jones Adventure. You look down in that area, and there's a tree there, and in the tree you can see the door and a chimney to his home, and they do decorate it for some of the holidays, specifically St. Patrick's Day, I believe for Halloween time, and also for Christmas. And finally, there's just so many details before we get to the last attraction. One thing I really suggest is checking out the Imagineering story and the making of Disneyland. I'm not sure if that's the actual name of the second one, but those have some great insight to things that were done in that land. Now, the very last attraction we are going to talk about is one of the newest yet oldest attractions in Disneyland. And this is what I mean by that. It is the Adventureland treehouse, inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. So this treehouse was originally the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, And then for a time, it changed to Tarzan's treehouse, and now it is back as the Adventureland treehouse, inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson and other adventures. And so you have to walk up a million stairs. So I'm just warning you, if you want to do the full experience, you will walk up a million stairs. There's a part of it that is accessible, but is only the very base of it. Most of the adventures are upwards. You have to climb, and then you will have to eventually come back down. So if you are like me and have a bad knee, you need to take it slow or avoid this attraction altogether. But it has lots of little hidden details that you can find from the previous tree houses, and also just some nods to Disney history and especially, like I said, to the Swiss Family Robinson. And that is where we end with Adventureland. It is actually a fairly small land. However, it packs a punch. And like I said, there are no concession stands in the land, and that is because Walt wanted to make sure that this land felt authentic, like you could really be in these locations. And those locations would not have a popcorn stand or a Mickey Premium ice cream bar stand. The closest that you get is where that indoor seating is for Bengal barbecue. They do have a fruit stand where they have fruit out, but it is not out in the middle. It is not a concession stand that forms a line. So that is definitely something that is unique to Adventureland in Disneyland. So I want you to notice that next time you are there, that there are no concession stands visible in that land. As we go through this series, I hope you'll find other little tidbits about the lands that maybe you didn't notice before, such as not having concessions or the beating drums in the distance that is the soundtrack for Adventureland. Jessica will be back next week where we'll be checking out the newest land in Disneyland, and it is not Galaxy's Edge. So make sure you tune in next week.
You've been listening to Castle Talk Radio. For exclusive discounts on tickets and hotels, free guides, and to listen to past episodes, visit castletalkradio.com.